Good day, good morning, good day. Oh, right. Let's get down to business. Bish, bash, bosh, bish. Good morning. Used lamp, which I will assume is you, Louis? That is your cat in a Lego Star Wars frame, is it not? Maybe it isn't. We start with the usual perspective shape shenanigans. You enjoying your time off now that you graduated, Louis? Hello, Jenny. Good morning. Lots of house jobs. Oh, yes, yes. Yes, I feel your pain. I was busy doing lots of housework the other day. That's unfortunately a big part of living in a house. Just get in the way of your drawing. Do you have any idea of like some drawing projects or anything that you're thinking about doing over the summer? Star Wars vehicles? Sounds very fun. Did you grab that humble bundle full of Learn Squared courses a while ago? Because there was a Pablo Dominguez one on making Star Wars-esque vehicles. Bing bong bing bong bong. Bing bong bing bing bong. Let's move the tablet. Yeah, there are just so many things to learn. I told myself I would watch a bunch of them over the summer. But I'm just enjoying drawing and drawing alone. And I need to make a YouTube video or 2 or 3 as well, which I need to record stuff for. But when I'm gonna find the time to do that is unclear. Unless I sacrifice these like daily drawing pages, which I don't really want to do. They bring me so much joy that it would be a great shame. Hello, do I have a YouTube video where I talk about online courses on digital painting or storyboarding? You don't have formal art education, you're trying to make the jump from traditional to digital. I don't have a video where I talk about art education generally. I have a big document of YouTube video topics and ideas that I'd like to make, and one of them is kind of about the role of an art teacher. And how that would come in handy. I'd say there are so many free resources that you can make use of that I would definitely try and, you know, make the most of that before you jump into buying courses or anything. There's so much you can learn just on YouTube alone. It kind of also depends on how much, you know, how many hours you've got into traditional. You're saying you're moving from traditional to digital. I moved from traditional to digital. And I found that honestly so much of the information transferred that I wasn't super confused. Other than, you know, what particular button to press to do what. All of the stuff about drawing and value and color, that all transferred absolutely fine, right? So I'd jump in if you haven't already. I think if you're anything like me, you're probably sort of thinking about making the change. And trying to prepare for making the change rather than just doing it and just hopping in and seeing what you can make. I have it with a lot of stuff. I had it with oil painting for a while. I watched so many videos and read so many books on oil painting before I actually just started oil painting. And as soon as I started, it was like, oh, I didn't need all those videos and all those books. I'm fine. Like, I can cope. Or at least that gives me a much better idea of what it is that I need to learn from the videos and books. Like, I didn't need to hoard all of this information. But I do it about everything. I was making or I'm thinking about making a point-and-click puzzle game. Just because I think that'd be cool. I could, like, draw and paint all the backgrounds. And I've watched like hours and hours and hours of videos on what games engine is best for it and whatever else. And it's like, maybe I should just grab an engine and give it a go and make mistakes and see what happens. I think that'd probably be more productive. Yeah. It's so easy to overthink stuff. What kind of work do you do traditionally? Is it like paint or just drawing or sculpture? Yeah, I'm really pleased with the Discord we've got. I mean, what I should start doing the critique streams. We used to do critique streams semi-regularly. Maybe I'll do one of them this week. Actually, I really enjoyed them, and I think people benefited from them, or at least I hope people benefited from them. Yeah, they're just I think if you go on the live section of the YouTube and you just scroll down, um, they should all be there. We did about 13 of them. I think we did about 13 of them. There are a bunch. I mean, when I started out, I really liked. There were like three big ones, which was Cynic's Design, Ahmed Al-Dori, and Modern Day James. And I definitely loved. I think Modern Day James the most. He doesn't quite do the same content anymore. I think his content's a lot more animation focused now, just because that's what he's interested in. But yeah, a lot of his older stuff, if you just scroll down on his account, is all about really solid drawing fundamentals that are just wonderful. Ahmed Al-Dori, much more about painting. Yeah. Cynics is a funny one. I found it really valuable when I was a beginner. He has a very particular style that he like draws and paints in, and so if that's something that interests you, like stylized stuff, then that's kind of fun. Ahmed Al-Dori. I'll write them over here. Modern Day James. There are a few more that I really, really like personally. There's a guy called Woo Woo, and the Wormling. Not digital though, it's traditional drawing, but that's really fun. And there's a guy called 10,000 Hours. That's what his channel's called. And he's really interesting because he's trying to use like meta learning techniques to figure out drawing, basically, as someone who hasn't really drawn very much. And so he's doing like check-ins every 100 hours and showing you his progress and showing you what he's been studying and what books he's been reading. And so I think that's really, really fun for me as a teacher, but I think for anyone also who would consider themselves like a bit of a beginner. Really, really fun stuff. You farted? Don't fart. It's dangerous. Hello, Jam. We'll start drawing soon, I promise. Well, we are drawing, but it's just the warm-up. It's dangerous to start drawing without your warm-up. Okay. Yeah, let's start drawing. Komodo dragons is today's topic. Which should be interesting. If not, quite difficult. That's draw a thing. No, I learned, I did a lot of acrylic and gouache painting before I did digital painting, but I've been doing a bit of oil painting more recently after I've done a couple of years of digital stuff, so. The digital painting or oil painting, digital painting I kind of learned a lot on my own, but I did end up going to university to learn about concept art, and they taught a bit of digital painting. But I was doing it for years and years and years, just in my bedroom, so. Oil painting, I definitely learned alone. Yeah. There are lots of free programs. I'd say why not just jump into it a little bit. You can even do it in browser with something like Webby Paint. This is like the most compact Komodo dragon, but I think that curve is too extreme. I think it should. Something like that. Message redacted? I wonder why the message is redacted from A. Sinsans. That's the first time I've ever seen that happen. Hello. Ooh. These goofy shapes I'm putting down. Let's... Rosie McNosy, people often talk about checking your values when drawing, but I don't even know what to fix after changing my color piece to grayscale. Is it just to check contrast? Kind of. So it's to make sure that the thing that you want the viewer to look at is actually the thing that's in focus. So yeah, it's a contrast problem. You know, there are other reasons to check your values, that you don't want to overstate midtones, which is a whole other ordeal. But yeah, contrast effectively. You know, it's not just that you're checking that the contrast is high enough, it's that maybe actually you don't want the contrast to be very high in some other areas, right? So there's plenty for you to check. Yeah, like Jam said, it could be to check the accuracy compared with your ref. That's assuming you're drawing from a ref, or painting from a ref. I think I was just thinking generally it would be yeah, just a contrast thing. Yeah, you feel oftentimes you prefer it muted. There's so much grey. It's a good idea to have a reference, and the reference doesn't have to be your exact subject matter either. So let's say you're painting a dog. Your reference could just be any painting that you like, even if it's not of a dog, right? And you look at that painting, and you try and figure out, well, how are they arranging their values? Like Jam says, is it that they're understating some parts so that other parts are more obvious? It might not be, but it could be. We could have its leg actually popping it outwards, couldn't we? Nathan Fowkes is very good. How do you use less saturated colours for digital art without it becoming muddy? I think it's muddiness is a value problem, not a saturation or colour problem. I think things become muddy because value-wise they are maybe too similar or not similar enough, right? It's tricky when you come from a specific area like that and trying to transfer some of the information over, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. I need to study bats because if I can combine bats and some of this like crocodilian and lizardy stuff, then I can make dragons, and that would be really cool, actually. That would be mega cool. this chunky guy. But this whole thing should be like out here. Kind of looks like a person in a Komodo dragon suit. I get the sense that their claws sort of face inwards, you know. Something's not quite right about this, but Yes, that's much more appropriately Komodo dragon shaped. I don't know why his tail would be in a kind of ribbon like that. I just think it's neat. Make sure this arm is attaching as it should. What do Komodo dragons eat? Smaller Komodo dragons, I think. I think they're cannibalistic. We could get some smaller Komodo dragons going. I do like this tail, but maybe it should be more dynamic. No. No, it will stay as is. They are, yeah, they eat other Komodo dragons. If you saw a baby Komodo dragon, they're really small. And they can climb up trees to hide from the adults, basically. Let's move this whole guy. Over here. Or even down here. Or look, the Komodo Dragon Tetris is beginning. I like that. Yeah, they live on a small island as well. It's not that small, I don't think. It's an island in Indonesia. But there are multiple islands, they're not just on the one island. In Indonesia somewhere, apparently. But they're pretty terrifying creatures. I don't want to come face to face with a Komodo dragon, really. Apparently the population is spread across lots of different islands. It's in like the same area in Indonesia. But there's Komodo Island, there's Rinca Island, Flores Island, Gili Motang, and a bunch of others. So they're spread about a little bit. But they are so cool. They're just big monitor lizards is all they are. Big venomous monitor lizards. Which has got to count for something. That's... I'm just making it up as I go. They can open their jaws pretty wide as far as I'm aware. Hello. Yes, dragons. Peanut butter, it's very gloopy. Is it like heated? Oh, I see, I see, I see. I don't know what I'm doing with this Komodo dragon body. Yeah, effectively you could have like a... There you go. Sorted. That should probably come down that way. too big. I've made it too big. Too chunky. It does kind of have a T-Rex-esque head now. Let's slim our lad down a little. Enjoy work. Is it the teeth? Should it just not have teeth? Yeah, that helps. Okay, let's just finish up the bits we know are gonna exist. And then we'll figure out the legs after the fact. That helps, I think, if the head comes out further before it decides to go down. I don't know, I feel like I'm giving them weirdly human hands. How do I decide on the hatchings? If I have overlapping forms, the point that's higher than the thing behind it, so from a side, I'm imagining that these are doing something like that. So the highest point is going to curve towards us, so we're describing... I'll do a little diagram of what we're describing. But if we did that exact same thing but we hatched in the opposite direction, then we would be describing the troughs rather than the peaks. So if I hatch away, we're making more of a point that things are indenting rather than that they're poking out. So it's all about concave versus convex forms, basically. So let's think about this in a different way. So if I have a sphere, or any form really, and I put a line on it like that, if I hatch above that line, we're almost saying that it's like a gouge or something, whereas if I hatch downwards from that line, we're saying that it's poking out. And obviously you support that by hatching the rest of it in like the same way. So it's about whether or not you want something poking out or poking in. I think the reason this works is because if I had something with a pattern on it, the pattern is clustering around the edges, and towards the center of the form it's getting more spread out, right? And so all we're doing is we're representing that same thing but with lines, so closer together lines at the edges. And further apart lines. You could do the opposite. You could say actually the closer together lines are at the middle. And they get lighter towards the edges. And it works as well, but this other way of thinking, I think, makes more sense to me. So it's for that reason that, again, if we had another like ball poking out of this one, then towards the edges get darker. But that includes like these edges. You could think of these being indents, like where this thing's attached, and so there will be that that variation in pattern density is maybe the best way I could describe it. I need to think through it and think of like a better way to explain it, because I know what I mean in my head. It's just explaining it and having it make sense. I tend to hatch with the silhouette almost, because you've got two options, right? Effectively two options. Here's two spheres. Either you can hatch round like that, which can be useful, or you hatch round like that. And I think there may be just two different textures that we're describing, because you do get vertical or vertical textures, so that could be this guy might have a mustache, right? But those textures would be more like, I don't know, skin folds or whatever else. So there's a difference between hair that's hatched that way and hair that's hatched that way. A big difference. And so it's like using whatever I think is most appropriate, but it's very intuitive, I find. You wouldn't have hatched the way I have in some places. I'd be very interested to know which places and how you would have done it. That would be interesting to me. This guy, what a pain. What a pain this giant doofus is causing me. Is this guy's head just too big? Actually, that makes him look even larger if his head is smaller. Ugh. Okay. maybe we can like slim down a lot of the body. No, that looks weird. Let's keep him quite large. This dragon, you'd leave his back completely flat. You wouldn't have these. I mean, the other thing that these help with is he's traveling. He's like moving, and so I guess it's like an indication of movement, which is an even more abstract and weird thing to think about. Like this stuff. Oh, but you wouldn't have the interior lines. I mean, these lines are the ones I'm thinking of. I mean, this isn't just hatching. This is the lower serratus muscles that you see on Komodo dragons. You can kind of see their ribs, or the muscles that lie underneath their ribs. Like they're there, and like this mark is also another weird thing that you get on Komodo dragons. It's almost like a seam line. I don't know what causes it. But they have these like weird seam lines, and they go all the way up the neck. They're weird things. The serratus? So we have it on people as well. If you have, let's suppose this is a human body, right? And we've got, here's the, whoop. This is the worst human body I've ever drawn. But there's our belly button. There's our groin. So our rib cage is going to sit like here, but it's like a layer of muscles that sits on top of the rib cage. So they'll appear here, and sometimes people see them and they assume that they're looking at the rib cage, but you're not. You're looking at the layered muscles that sit on top of it. And as far as I can tell, Komodo dragons have a similar layering of muscles on their backs. Let me find a reference image. Come on. It might also just be like skin folds. This is a kind of what I'm talking about. That like layered. In this example, it does kind of just look like folds. But I've seen other ones where it looks like indentation of like muscle. Hopefully you can see that there's those staggered like muscles, and then this is the seam line that I'm talking about that like runs all the way down their body. I don't know why it's there or what it's for, but it's there. Well, it does on people, the serratus, but that's all it reminds me of. I don't know if it actually is the serratus muscles. It's the only reason I can think. It might not be the serratus muscles, but it seems to me to be a row of muscles, similar to the serratus. That's in a similar place, or well, much lower on a Komodo than it is on a human, obviously, but. But no, I should be a little bit more careful for sure. It's entirely possible that I'm sort of clustering things up a bit. It's just clustered loose skin, like in that one place. Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, it might be that a lot of stuff forms symmetrically in the womb, or in this case, in an egg. Like we have a seam line on our skull that goes directly down the center. I wonder if that's how their skin like forms, is it has this weird seam. But hello, Mount Wolf. It's been a while. Oh, I hope you have a wonderful day. Yeah, sure. We'll leave him like that. Bing bang, bing boom, bing, psh, bonk. We might even move him down a bit and slot him in here as best we can. Well, good luck with your apartment hunting. That's always tricky, isn't it? I think their heads are wider. Oh. Whatever. they're funny little creatures to draw, I think. As is tradition, we will draw an incredibly rotund Komodo dragon. How'd I come up with my YouTube name? I was playing Skyrim at the time as a 15-year-old. And I really liked the Dragon Mask Morocay. So I shamelessly stole that name. It's difficult. It is annoying. I mean, Morokai was evidently a poor choice. Because if you Google Morrow, all you get is a Lego Ninjago character. Well, that's fun though. That's fun. go, there's a chunky Komodo dragon. Yeah, I wish that the Lego Ninjago character was not the top result, but I guess I have to get more famous. And it's stuck ever since. cheese and onion. I really, really don't like salt and vinegar. I think it's too tangy, too zingy. Good day, Rap. Stream's about to end. It's almost been 2 hours. Just gonna color in these remaining fellas, and then we'll say goodbye. Yeah, some of these were tricky to figure out. Some of these Komodos. They're weird creatures. I think the feet especially, I should do a separate series of studies where I just look at their feet and figure out how they work. Yeah, I think I'm gonna head off and go to the gym. I might be back on later. I need to do some painting. I need to record some stuff for like a YouTube video. Ooh, God bless me. Just cardio. Just cardio. Okay. There we go. That was yesterday's. We did alligators and stuff. I thought I was streaming for the full 2 hours that we spent on that, and it turns out I wasn't. So that's not on YouTube. It is on Twitch though, so there should be a VOD on Twitch if you want to go and see that. But there's today's. We've done some Komodos, which are reasonably similar to alligators. I think alligators' limbs are much easier to think about. Alligators and crocodiles, so. Okay. Enjoy, gamers. Enjoy. Have a good day. Bye bye.